Only 300 copies made. This is a deck wrapped in gold with the style of Gustav Klimt, a tiny bit of Dali, and maybe a little resemblance to the Starman Tarot. When I saw it on Kickstarter, it immediately caught my attention. Hey, this is Jay with Lunar Tarot, where I bring you weekly Oracle and Tarot deck reviews to inspire your readings. And today I'll be reviewing a deck called the Golden Dream Tarot, a project created by Caroline Zing, an Australian artist, and it's a deck that's full of surprises, a bit lush and luxurious feel, excellent cardstock, and a very unique design. So this is the actual deck. Beautiful, beautiful card box. It came with this Oracle coin. It has both sides in the same style as the actual deck. Nice little touch. And I didn't order it, which is cool. It just came with it. And when I first opened the deck, the box, my hands were covered in glitter because this is what the deck looked like. Also with my fingerprints after using it for a bit. And you can see now it's gone, but I was worried for a second thinking this is just going to be a glitter bomb of a deck, but it settled down. It's a beautiful deck. There's a lot of resemblance to the Starman Tarot, the classic deck now that I reviewed a while back on my channel. It also resembles the work of Gustav Klimt, the famous Kiss, and you will see it a lot on these cards. So it's very, very classy looking deck with inspiration, I think, drawn from a few different decks. Now, is this beginner friendly? Kinda. The structure is Rider-Waite Smith, or at least on the surface. But if you start looking at the deck a bit closer, you'll see slight differences. And like this one here, the sand, for instance, it's a grown-up man rather than a child in temperance, and I think it will be difficult to do intuitive reading just on that. Lover's card I think is easy, but some are not same. You need to memorize the original meanings, and I was getting a little bit confused. I'll give you some examples later. I've selected some of the cards that I want to illustrate what I really loved about this deck and some stuff that I found slightly challenging. The cardstock is very solid, and I thought it would be a pain to shuffle, but this basically shuffles itself. It's so easy to do that, and you wouldn't do a refill shuffle to a deck like this, but it just makes it so simple. I think it's just because the cardstock is quite decent. I think it's 400 grams, which is quite a lot, and then the thickness of a card just feels almost like they're made of plastic or metal, but it is paper. And the glitter I was telling you about eventually went away, but it got replaced with another problem. This deck gets scratched so easily. So I think if you really like this deck, you probably wouldn't do it for day-to-day reading. So you will save it for something special, or perhaps it's a collector item more than the actual deck that you'll use every day, because it is very pretty. And by the way, if you just want to see a flip through, I'll put a timestamp on the screen. You can just skip through right away so you can see the full deck. But if you want to know if this deck is worth collecting or using, stick around, you'll know more. So the art is very beautiful, but doesn't always tell the story. There's not much happening in the background. Also, some cards are quite crowded. You'll see that some cards will have second characters, like this one here. It's a hermit, right? But it's got two people behind him, and I'm not sure what was the reason for this artistic choice. And I really regret not getting the guidebook, because this little subtle differences, not everywhere, but there will be something you look at and you'll think, oh, that doesn't feel the same way. This is Klimt, this type of design, by the way. So the vibe I'm getting from this is sort of a bit surreal, Dali, Salvador Dali look. and the author actually talks about it. It's very symbolic, I would say, deck, and it's quite emotional too. And I'll show you in a second what I pulled out when I asked the deck how it wants to be used. I also really like the minor arcana. Here it really flourishes. Often you see in the deck set the major arcana is the main focus of the artistic work. So who is this for? I think this is definitely a good deck for someone who really knows the card's meaning. So if you know Rider-Waite-Smith, this could be a good deck. Or if you're getting one, definitely get the guidebook. Don't do a mistake that I did, because sometimes you look at the meaning, you may not get straight away what it is. And when I asked the deck how it wants to be used for the overall theme, I got the strength, and I was surprised what would strength mean. And it's quite interesting in this scenario, because this is where you can actually read these cards intuitively. This is a departure from a traditional strength card. You can see there is a partnership between the lion and the character, the person there, right? It's not this soft power of persuasion or love. It's almost like a partnership. It's almost like this card is telling you, hey, I want to partner with you. I want to be your ally and a tool to help you to understand what exactly? Well, we got the Three of Cups. It's a card of celebration, and the theme of the deck, you know, this gold gliding, it sort of suggests that this is a deck for celebration, for some happy readings and readings about relationships, emotions, and the next one was pretty much confirming this. So this was the correct order, the Three of Cups and the Four of Cups. And to me, this is a deck of relationships. To me, it's a deck of emotional connections. And some of the cards that stood out to me, as I mentioned, most all of these are minor arcana, the ones that I thought represented the deck really well. So pages and knights really shine on this deck. This is a Page of Wands. It's a beautiful card. And this is the Page of Cups, another beautiful card. It uses element of the suit there, but in a subtle way. But if you look at Four of Swords, this is where it starts getting a little bit, it's deviating a little bit for traditional Rider-Waite-Smith structure and imagery. Like here, I don't see this contemplation or taking time away from, you know, the conflicting thoughts, trying to arrange your thoughts around and reflect on something. Here is more of the dreamlike state, and the character here, the girl, she's more sort of friends with the swords, or at least with one of them, and it's almost like dreamlike state, which I think is still aligned, but I think it's a slight subtle difference. Now here, Five of Pentacles, this is an interesting one. So this one is very hard to interpret this deck, because those crows, they are either thieving crows, or maybe she's friends with them and they actually feeding her and bringing her the material wealth, the gold, or what have you, coins. And this is supposed to be a card of the change, the change of a traditional established foundation, right, from the Four of Pentacles. And I don't really see it here. Perhaps the birds bring in change, but it's quite hard to say. When I initially saw this card, I was thinking like maybe Nine of Pentacles, or you know, something more of the achieving wealth and success, where this one is different to me. And also, I don't know if it's necessarily pentacle. To me, it's more because of the animal connection. This is more like almost pagan-like imagery here, right? So then this is where it gets completely off, in my view, at least. So the Hangman here, you see almost someone who escaped from being hanged, and there's a sense of relief on their face. But at the same time, this doesn't look like a rope, it looks more like a tie, and perhaps there's This is more to me looks like a shackles of the devil, where a person can walk away at any time, where a hanged man is not able to get out of being hanged because he's hanging upside down, right? And it's quite an awkward position. Where here is more of a card of relief, or for a lucky escape, perhaps. Similar to this one, the Tower. If you remember traditional RWS meaning, and some other ones like Tower de Marseille, the tower is getting destroyed and it's getting shattered. Here, it's almost like the aftermath has already happened, or the tower is not actually getting shattered at all. Now look at the person here. It's almost like a shadow of themselves, and they're looking at the tower. Are they thinking of walking towards it? This is definitely a different thing. To me, there's definitely a significance of this event, but I don't see the shattering of the traditional structure. Obviously, the person isn't affected, same way as in Tower de Marseille. The lightning hit the tower, doesn't touch the people, symbolizing the change of a structure, perhaps catastrophic, but a person would know they're okay. Here they are attracted to the tower. It's almost the tower has its own energy, and this is definitely a departure from traditional meaning. And again, I regret not buying the guidebook because I'm gonna say that this probably explained there. Also, the author Caroline, she on the page was saying that she created each one of his cards by hand. So I would imagine if you do something like this, you would spend a lot of time developing each character and giving them a life and a backstory. Well, we're going to do a flip through now, and I know it's maybe the most exciting thing you wanted to do. But before we do that, let's toss the Oracle coin and see if you should subscribe or not. And if it comes gold, then you should. Whoa! I think the stars are telling you this is the time to hit that subscribe button. So this is my take on Golden Dream Tarot. Honestly, not the most straightforward deck, but this is not a deck you would use for day-to-day readings. I think it's more of a solid collector piece that you will use for creative, artistic, or emotional relationship-like readings. This deck really invites you to slow down a little bit and look into the meanings of the cards, because they often deviate from RWS structure. What about you? Have you got any interesting decks in your collection with this visual artistic style? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, this is Jay with Lunar Tarot.